let me ask you a question. Why do humans look for extraterrestrial life? Is it to prove we're not the only fish in the ocean? What if we find a monster that eats fish instead? Like K218b that was announced recently. With the life signal found on it, if the life on it is confirmed, and can produce technology and civilization, is it a blessing or a curse for humanity? First, let's briefly review the discovery of K218b. On April 17th this year, NASA released data showing signs of life were discovered on planet K218b, with a probability as high as 99.7%. It's 120 for light years away from us. In its atmosphere, chemical substances that are almost always related to organisms were detected. Moreover, their concentration is 1,000 times higher than on Earth. If these substances are indeed the result of biological activity, just like on Earth, then it's possible that there's not just life, but a thriving ocean full of biodiversity. Current evidence all points to K218b being a water world, a planet covered by a deep ocean, hiding active life. This life may be completely different from any life on Earth. In fact, K218b was first discovered in 2015 by the Kepler Space Telescope. At that time, it scanned more than 1,200 distant planets. One of them showed signs that it might be a habitable planet. It's almost 2.5 times the size of Earth and weighs 9 times that of Earth. Scientists named it K218b. 2 years later, in 2017, the Spitze Space Telescope and the HARP spectrograph joined the study, confirming K218b, located within its star's habitable zone, implying the existence of an ocean. More and more science suggest that life may exist on this planet. By 2019, the Hubble Space Telescope made new discoveries, detecting water vapor in the atmosphere of K218b, and by 2023, mankind's strongest observation tool, James, the Webb Space Telescope, began to play its role. Its sensors detected dimethyl sulfide, a substance that on Earth is produced by phytoplankton and other marine microorganisms, a trace of chemical substances. If it can be confirmed, then scientists may have discovered the first signs of extraterrestrial life. To verify, NASA decided to use different instruments and different methods for repeated observations. Finally, on April 17, 2025, the Webb Space Telescope used new instruments to repeat the observation and detailed scanning of K218b. The result once again detected traces of dimethyl sulfide, and its concentration may be enormous, 1,000 times higher than on Earth. Dimethyl sulfide is very rare on Earth. It usually appears when tiny algae begin to decompose in the ocean. In this process, this gas is released. It easily evaporates and rises into the atmosphere. You must have smelled the sea. Dimethyl sulfide is what causes this characteristic ocean smell. Detecting this gas from 120 for light years away sounds almost like science fiction. But to accurately understand K218b, what it may be hiding, we need to look at the conditions in which it exists. This planet orbits the K2218 red dwarf star. Its orbit is very close to the star, about 2.5 times the distance from Mercury to the Sun. However, this star itself is smaller than our Sun, cooler and dimmer. Due to this delicate cosmic balance, K218b receives roughly the same amount of heat and light as Earth. That's why it's considered a potentially habitable planet. Furthermore, it has been determined that there is no ammonia in the atmosphere of K218. This also supports the claim that there may be a large amount of water on its surface, because ammonia would simply dissolve in the ocean. Although all signs indicate that life may exist here, scientists still have doubts. Nicholas Wogan of the Lhasa Advanced Research Center and some other scientists believe that K218 may be a mini gas giant without a solid surface. However, the project's chief researcher, Professor Nikumadhusudin, says he is convinced that K218b does have an ocean, and that it may be full of life. According to him, in the next 1 to 2 years, scientists will be able to determine 100% whether this gas exists, and whether it is a product of biological processes, or whether there are other sources. Currently, scientists estimate that in the atmosphere of K218b, the probability of finding potential signs of life is as high as 99.7%. This is by far the highest level of reliability recorded in the search for extraterrestrial biosignatures in scientific statistics. This possible level of accuracy is called 3 sigma. But for a statement to be accepted as absolutely reliable by scientific standards, it needs to reach 5 sigma, which is 99.9999% execution rate. In other words, it means the probability of scientists making a mistake is only 1/1 million. Despite the convincing evidence, reality is often more complex than we imagine. K218b is only 124 light-years away from Earth. For us, who can't even get out of the solar system, this is undoubtedly a mirage. But if you look at it on the scale of the observable universe, 124 light-years is almost just a spot on the map. The universe extends over 93 billion light-years. If life were discovered on a planet only 124 light-years away, it would be like saying life might be spread throughout the universe. It may exist anywhere. Such a discovery could completely change our understanding of how widespread life could be in the universe. Currently, this is still just a hypothesis. Research is still ongoing. But one thing is clear. Humanity has never been so close to answering the question, are we alone? If we are not alone, then that is the answer to the opening question. As scientists continue to search for definitive answers, let's imagine a possible future. If life really exists on this mysterious planet, what would it be like? Starting from the simplest forms on Earth. Makes sense. Everything starts with microscopic organisms, and it is likely that life on K218 will develop in the same way. The preferred candidates may be those able to survive in hydrogen atmospheres under high pressure and temperature conditions. They may be similar to extremophiles on Earth, those living deep in the ocean, near hydrothermal vents, where temperatures can exceed 100 degrees Celsius. These organisms do not rely on sunlight, but directly obtain energy from chemical reactions, such as the oxidation of hydrogen sulfide. On K218, considering hydrogen, atmosphere, and possible volcanic activity, this kind of chemical reaction might be abundant. If this planet's life has managed to evolve beyond micro-organisms, even intelligent beings, then an interesting question arises. Under these conditions, what might more complex life forms look like? A deep sea under a thick atmosphere, with almost no light, means that vision may not be the primary sense. Creatures may navigate by detecting vibrations, heat, magnetic fields, or chemical signals. Some may even develop bioluminescence, the ability to produce light, like fireflies or anglerfish on Earth. More specifically, the potential size of this creature in a hydrogen atmosphere, the density is lower than on Earth. Organisms may have an advantage in terms of growth. Hydrogen is lighter than air, which means buoyancy would be greater. This could give rise to much larger creatures than on Earth. Perhaps they would move slowly, with huge bodies, adapted to high pressure and dense deep water, like giant jellyfish, or amorphous creatures floating in the depths of warm oceans, or even floating in the atmosphere. In addition, adapting to huge pressure is likely to be a key feature of these creatures. The oceans on K218b may be much deeper than Earth's oceans if diverse life exists. then some of its representatives may well live comfortably at depths of 10 to 15 miles, where the pressure could reach 1,600 to 2,400 atmospheres, far exceeding the pressure at the deepest known point, the Mariana Trench. To survive in such extreme conditions, animals on K218b may have bodies capable of withstanding tremendous pressure. The first thing that comes to mind is developing a hard shell to protect internal organs from pressure. These creatures may have dense, almost cartilaginous or skeletal structures made of tough biopolymers, whose strength is beyond that of biopolymers found in Earth organisms. Some animals having an external skeleton covered with a special material that can not only withstand high pressure, but also reduce its impact on internal tissues. These structures may be similar to the exoskeleton of a crab, but with a density far beyond that, and more resistant to deformation. Their bodies may be covered with tough biological scales or armor, both flexible and strong. Of course, this is just speculation. We do not know what chemical reactions drive the metabolism of potential life forms, if they really exist. We also don't know which molecules play the role that DNA plays on Earth. But if the detected dimethyl sulfide is indeed produced by organisms, that also means that life there is not only possible, but already adapted. Perhaps now, in the warm depths of a distant ocean, some creatures are moving slowly. For them, our planet is as strange as their world, is unfamiliar and out of reach. Although K218b is currently considered the most promising candidate for extraterrestrial life, but it is by no means the only one. Let's get to know another planet, T-Gardens b. It is located only 12.5 light-years from Earth, almost next door by cosmic standards. Scientists estimate that this planet has a roughly 60% chance of having Earth-like conditions, moderate temperatures, possibly between 0 to 50 degrees Celsius, liquid water, and a relatively stable climate. All of these may be found on T-Gardens b. However, this planet is likely tidally locked, which means that one half of the planet is in perpetual daylight, while the other half is in perpetual darkness. Therefore, on the boundary between these extreme worlds, there are extreme temperature differences. From scorching heat to freezing cold, such extreme temperature differences. And between these two extreme worlds lies an eternal twilight zone, where a suitable climate might be maintained, and liquid water may exist. Therefore, life may also exist, even complex, multicellular organisms. This leads to some bolder assumptions. If life there developed technology and civilization, and they are also observing Earth, then someday in the future, if they come to Earth, the ending may not be optimistic. It is known that the gravity of K218b is 9 times that of Earth. Then the creatures on it come to Earth, may act freely on Earth like Superman, and their super pressure-resistant skin or shell, if they are based on intercepts from terrestrial organisms of completely different life forms, such as stacking life, its antagonism and aggression may be beyond our imagination. Then, whether our existing human weapons are effective. But on the other hand, if future humans want to land on K218b, they will face higher gravity and pressure, as well as technological gaps that we cannot overcome, and resource constraints. There are also unpredictable environments. The environment there for us may not be friendly, so it's best to expect them to be kind. That way we can build an interstellar alliance. But if both sides are not kind, the ending will be hard to predict, because our understanding of alien civilization is largely based on the experience of terrestrial organisms. Our understanding of ability may be too simplistic. so everything is still unknown. Of course, except for K218b. There are also some that are scientists' key observation habitable planet candidates, like Kepler-16 for 9c. It is 301 light-years from Earth. There may be a habitable zone. It may have a temperature similar to Earth, and liquid water exists in a narrow area. TOI 700d, it is located 101 light-years from Earth, is considered more advantageous because its star may not have tidally locked it. This makes TOI 700d may have a more stable climate. Its surface temperature is about -4 degrees Celsius, and the star is relatively calm, helping to stabilize the atmosphere and oceans, creating more possibilities for the existence of life. Of course, in addition to these potentially habitable planets, scientists have also discovered many strange planets. They are not all like Earth but are full of science fiction colors. Among them, J1407b is an example. It is 434 light-years from Earth. Looks like an enhanced version of Saturn. Has a huge ring system. The diameter is 200 times that of Saturn's rings. There is also a planet called GJ504b, 57 light-years from Earth. Due to its young age, it appears pink. This is a rare color. In addition, GJ1214b is a world full of water. Although it has abundant water resources, but it has no solid surface. The water in the atmosphere exists in the form of a supercritical fluid, and in some extremely conditional worlds. We also found amazing sights. For example, Kepler-70b, it is about 650 light-years away from us, is one of the hottest known exoplanets. Surface temperatures reach 6,650 degrees Celsius. 76b is about 640 light-years away from us. He has a permanently dark side. It is also accompanied by the strange phenomenon of molten iron rain. Of course, there is more in the universe. Many planets beyond our imagination. PS or J1719 to 1438b orbits a neutron star. Maybe a planet made of stellar remnant diamond planet. While WASP-107b is known for its extremely low density, its density is like marshmallow floating in space. Although these planets have different properties, but not all have the possibility of colonization. However, GLI-581d showed hope. It is only 20 light-years from Earth, and its mass is similar to Earth. It is likely to be located in the habitable zone, possessing habitable potential. Perhaps there is also a habitable zone. In addition, the vastness of the universe is also reflected in the peculiarity of some orbits. The orbit of 2 MASSJ to 1 to 6 planet is far away from the star. Extremely far. 1 year of it is equivalent to 900,000 Earth years. Of course, astronomers are also committed to finding satellites in exoplanetary systems. And recently, astronomers have discovered a huge distance moon-forming disk outside the star. The vastness and mystery of the universe far exceed human imagination. Our exploration of the universe has just begun, from the possible signs of life on K218 to the discovery of various strange planets. Every exploration shakes our understanding of the world and constantly expands our understanding of life forms and understanding of the laws of the universe. These distant planets, some have habitable conditions similar to Earth, providing the possibility for the birth of life. Some show strange scenes in extreme environments, challenging our definition of life. And the exploration of these planets is not only the pursuit of extraterrestrial life, it is also about the origin of mankind itself, and a deep reflection on the future. Every new discovery is like a puzzle thrown to us by the universe, inspiring us to continue exploring. Look for more answers about the universe. Perhaps someday in the future, we can solve these puzzles, revealing the universality of life in the universe. no matter the outcome. This journey of exploration itself is full of meaning. He will continue to promote human scientific progress, inspire us to an known world, endless curiosity and imagination, eventually leading us to a more brilliant and splendid future.